and welcome to the Intel Brief, your daily intelligence briefing on global geopolitics. Today is Monday, 2 December. I'm your host Daniel, the founder of HM Intelligence, and every weekday we bring you not just the news, but the so what from the events and decisions that shape our world. So grab a coffee and get ready to be informed. In today's update, we'll be covering Iraqi militias are looking to provide Assad support. The ICJ begins hearings to clarify climate change obligations, and Joe Biden has pardoned his son. So firstly, Iranian-backed Iraqi militias have entered Syria to bolster the government's efforts to reclaim Aleppo, a strategic city recently captured by insurgents led by HTS. These reinforcements, reportedly around 200 strong, mark a significant support move as Syria and Russia intensify airstrikes on Aleppo and Idlib. Fighting has persisted in the region, with insurgents advancing into the countryside and around Idlib and Hammam province. Civilian casualties continue to rise, with at least 25 reportedly killed in a recent airstrike. While Iran has reiterated its commitment to supporting the Syrian government, Western governments have urged de-escalation. Iran's foreign minister has expressed unwavering support for Assad during a meeting in Damascus, highlighting Iran's long-standing advisory presence in Syria. Meanwhile, tensions persist with Turkey, which backs the rebel factions. Turkish and Iranian officials, however, agreed on the need to prevent Syria from becoming a hub of terrorism. As hostilities escalate, Kurdish civilians are fleeing the conflict, particularly after Turkish-backed forces seized Tal Rafat. The international community remains divided, with Western calls for peace counterbalanced by Iran and Russia's continued support for the Syrian government. So what? Regardless of the support from the SMGs, Iran and Russia, it is unlikely that Syria will retake Aleppo in the short term. However, it is also unlikely that HTS and the other rebel groups will be able to swing south and take much further than Hammam, which they might also lose due to the support of the SMGs coming in from Iraq. All in all, this continues to be an extremely complicated situation with no clear good side. And next, the International Court of Justice has begun landmark hearings to clarify the legal responsibilities of nations in combating climate change and aiding vulnerable countries. Spearheaded by Vanuatu and other Pacific islands, the hearing marks the largest case in the ICJ's 80-year history, with input from 99 countries and numerous organizations. The case seeks to establish legal grounds for holding states accountable for climate actions that exacerbate the crisis. Vanuatu's representatives emphasized the existential threat posed by climate change to their low-lying islands, urging the court to confirm that harmful actions against the climate are unlawful. The hearings come shortly after COP29, where wealthier nations agreed to provide $300 billion annually in climate finance, an amount criticized as insufficient by developing nations. The ICJ's advisory opinion is expected in 2025, could set crucial precedents for international climate law through the court's rulings are non-binding and lack enforcement mechanisms. This case underscores the ongoing frustration of at-risk nations, which lack the tangible global progress since the 2015 Paris Agreement, which aimed to limit warming to 1.5 degrees, but left implementation vague. Activists remain hopeful that the hearings could create legal leverage for climate justice, while skeptics note the potential delays and limited enforceability of any ICJ decisions. Regardless, the hearings represent a pivotal movement for international efforts to address climate change. So what? It is understandable that Pacific Island nations, such as Vanuatu, are becoming frustrated by the process. However, due to the current levels of geopolitical tension, it is unlikely that any side will allow themselves to become at risk regarding energy or food security. This is going to be a constant battle, and when push comes to shove, a nation will likely choose short-term security over long-term risks such as climate change. Additionally, as stated in the article, the main contributors to climate change are highly unlikely to heed any ruling by the ICJ. This is made worse by the recent ineffectiveness of international rulings against certain leaders. And lastly, outgoing US President Joe Biden has issued a controversial pardon for his son, Hunter Biden, sparing him from possible prison time following convictions for federal gun and tax-related offenses. Hunter, who admitted to his actions during a period of addiction, expressed gratitude and vowed to dedicate his life to helping others. President Biden defended his decision, describing the charges as politically motivated attacks against his family, which he deemed a miscarriage of justice. The pardon marks a reversal from Biden's earlier promise not to use his presidential clemency for family members, a stance reaffirmed by the administration just weeks prior. The decision comes as Biden prepares to leave office, with Donald Trump set to be inaugurated in January. The pardon drew fierce criticism from Republicans and some Democrats alike. Republican President-elect Donald Trump called it an abuse and a miscarriage of justice, while Republican lawmakers accused Biden of corruption and undermining the rule of law. Criticism also emerged from within Biden's own party, with Colorado Governor Jared Polis warning the pardon sets a troubling precedent and tarnished Biden's legacy. The pardon, announced after family Thanksgiving, underscores the fraught and personal nature of this decision, which he framed as an act of compassion amidst relentless political attacks on his son and family. So what? This is a pretty bold move, and not one many people expected due to the repercussions. This basically gives Trump free will to pardon anyone he wants, including himself if required. I can see this also possibly causing rifts within the Democratic Party, as it clearly is a personal move that damages the reputation of the entire party. Thank you for listening to the Intel Brief, the daily intelligence brief for global geopolitics, brought to you by HM Intelligence. If you want to support the podcast, tell your friends to help them stay informed, and leave us a 5-star review. Or if you want to learn more about intelligence, why not take one of our courses? They're all online, self-paced and affordable. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you next time.